Hi everyone, I'm Julia, the chemistry tutor, and today I'm going to talk about covalent chemical nomenclature. Covalent nomenclature, so nomenclature is just naming, and covalent means nonmetals, okay? And it is the easiest nomenclature that you're going to learn compared to ionic and acid nomenclature. Covalent nomenclature is the easiest. I always suggest when you're taking an exam or a quiz, identify your type of compound first. Is it covalent? Is it ionic? Is it an acid? And do all of your covalents first. Get your easy points out of the way first, and then move on to the next ones. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at and remind ourselves where the nonmetals are, right? Because we're looking at covalent compounds. Okay, so your covalent compounds are a nonmetal plus a nonmetal. Okay, there are no metals involved in covalent compounds. Okay, so we're looking at the ones that are highlighted here in red. Okay, so remember your nonmetals are to the right of this stair step, but the ones that have the green on them, those are the ones that are metalloids. They're kind of metals, they're kind of nonmetals. So we're probably not really going to look at those when we're looking at covalent compounds. Okay, so remembering we're only looking at those over on the right-hand side when we're talking about covalent compounds. Okay, so I have written over here on the right-hand side of my sheet, I have the rules for naming covalent compounds. Okay, so rule number 1 is we first name the first element, whatever the first element is in the compound. You're typically only going to have 2 types of elements. You're going to add the prefix to say how many number of that atom are there. And here's our prefixes down here. We'll talk about those in a second. Okay. Then the big rule is we never say mono with the first one. If there's only one of the first atom, we do not say mono. We just name the atom, name the element. Okay. So the rule number 2 is we name the root of the second element. So like if it's carbon, we say carb. If it's nitrogen, we say nitra. If it's bromine, we say brom. Okay, so it's the root of that element. Okay, and then we always add the prefix to the second one to say how many of that element is, even if it's mono, monochloride, monocarbide. Okay, and then they all end in "ide." No matter what, you end them all with the last name "ide." Okay, so the root "ide." Okay, and then your prefixes down here. Okay, so these are your prefixes down here. Okay, and most people are totally just fine with the mono, di, and tri, 1, 2, 3. That's pretty easy. Okay, a lot of people struggle with the tetra. So I remember my 2 T's go together. So if I know tri is 3, tetra has to be 4. Okay, so 5 is penta, like the pentagon has 5 sides, or a baseball diamond, a baseball home plate has 5 sides. Okay, hexa I remember is 6 because it has an X in it just like 6 does. Okay, I remember hepta is 7 for the same way I remember the 2 T's go together. I remember my 2 H's go together. So if hexa is 6, hepta is 7. 8 is pretty easy because we know an octopus has 8 legs. Nona sounds like 9, and a decade has 10 years. Okay, so those are your prefixes that you're going to use to denote what the number of atom that you have, number of element you have. Okay, so now let's do a little practice with those. Okay, so I have some compounds written over here on the left-hand side. Okay, so we're just going to follow our rules. Okay, so our first element, we name our first element just like it is on the periodic table with its prefix to say how many are there. So I have 2 nitrogens and 2 is di. Okay, so I have dinitrogen. Whoop. Okay, and then the second rule is we name the root of the second element with its prefix for how many are there. Okay, so I have 4 oxygens, and 4 is tetra. The 2 T's go together. Okay, so I have tetra. Name the root of that element, so that is ox. And then we always end in ide. Okay, dinitrogen tetraoxide. But we don't put 2 vowels together because it just sounds weird. So we drop the A and we just say tetroxide. Okay, so dinitrogen tetroxide. Okay, we don't put the 2 vowels together, we drop the first vowel. Okay, so now let's look at the second one. Okay, so I have carbon. So we're going to name the first element with its prefix to say how many are there. I have 2. So again, it's going to be di, and that is carbon. You name the first one just like it is on the periodic table. Okay, then I'm going to name the root of my second element with its prefix. So tri, I've got 3 of them, so I have tri, and that is sulf is the prefix, and we always end in ide. Dicarbon trisulfide. Okay, so the third one down, I've got phosphorus. I've got 3 of them, so my prefix is tri. Phosphorus, just like it is on the periodic table. Okay, my second element root is going to be chlor. Its prefix is 9, so it's going to be nona. Okay, so nona, chlor is the root, end in ide. Okay, all right, so now the next one down, I have carbon. Now remember, if there's only one there, we do not say mono with that first element. Okay, so we're just going to say carbon. Okay, and now my second element, ox is the root, and di is the prefix. So I have di, ox, end in ide every single time. Okay, so now I've got chlorine. I've got 3 of them, so tri, chlorine. Fluor, from fluorine, fluor will be the root. 7 is hepta. I've got hepta there. Okay, so I've got hepta, fluor, end in ide. Okay, so see how easy that is? You're just saying how many are there and what is there. Okay, so let's do just a few more. Okay, and then we'll go from name back to formula. Okay, so I've got phosphorus. I've got 4 of them. 4 is tetra. Okay, so I've got tetra, phosphorus, the first one named just like it is on the periodic table. Sulf, for the root for that, I've got 8. 8 is octa. Okay, so I've got octa. Sulf, oops, that should not be capitalized there. Octa, sulf, end in ide. Okay, all right. So now my next one, I've got 1 nitrogen. Okay, and we do not say mono with the first one. Okay, so 1 nitrogen, we just say nitrogen. F would be, the root would be fluor. And I've got 5 of them, and 5 is your pentagon, the baseball home plate. So I've got penta, fluor is the root, ends in ide. Okay, we probably have more of these than we need for practice, but let me go ahead and just finish these last 4 off. Okay, so I've got iodine, and I have 7 of them. 7 is hepta, the 2 H's go together. So I've got hepta, iodine. Okay, we do put the 2 vowels together there because we're just saying how many of the first one, heptaiodine. I could be wrong on that. If you come across this with your instructor, check with your instructor if you're going to drop that A. It might be heptaiodine. Okay, so heptaiodine, and I have ox is my root, and 10 is deca. Okay, so I'm going to say deca, but I'm going to drop that A because I have an O coming right after it. decoxide. Okay. So now I've got selenium. I have 4 of them. My 2 T's go together. So we know tri is 3, so tetra is 4. So I have tetra selenium. And now brom, right? So brom is the root, and I have 6 of them. 6 has the X, so hexa. So I've got hexa. Brom is the root, ends in ide. Okay, here I've got 1 carbon, so I'm just going to say carbon, no mono with the first one. Now I've got a single oxygen. We do say mono with the second one, so I'm going to say mono. I'm going to drop the O and add ox is the root, ide is the end. That's carbon monoxide. Okay. Nitrogen, there's just 1 there, so I'm not going to say mono for that first one. Nitrogen, I've got 2 oxygens, so di, ox is the root, end in ide. Okay, every single time. Okay, so I erased all of those formulas. So if you're working along with me at home on this, put a piece of paper over your formulas. Okay, and we're going to do the formulas over here on the other side. I'm going to do them right where I was, but you can do them on the right-hand side of where your name is. Okay, so cover up your formulas if you're working along with me. So we're going to go from name to formula. Okay, so I have dinitrogen, so I know that means I have 2 nitrogens. So I'm just going to put an N, and there's 2 of them. Tetra means 4, and I have oxygens, so I have 4 oxygens. N2O4. Okay, di means 2, I have 2 carbons. Tri means 3, I have 3 sulfurs. Okay, tri 3 phosphoruses, so I have 3 phosphoruses, 9 chlorines. Okay, so going from name back to formula is really easy. Okay, carbon, there's no prefix, so I know I only have 1 of them. Di-ox, I have 2 oxygens. Okay, trichlorine, so I have 3 chlorines. Hepta is 7. Fluor, so I have 7 fluorides. Okay, tetraphosphorus, so I have 4 phosphoruses. Tetra is 4, those 2 T's going together there. Okay, octa is 8 because an octopus has 8 legs. Sulf is sulfur, so I have 8 sulfurs. Okay, nitrogen, no prefix, so there's just 1 of them there, so I have a nitrogen. Penta is 5, fluor is fluorine. So 5 fluorides there. Okay. Hepta is 7, because your 2 H's go together there. Okay, I've got iodine, so I've got 7 iodines and 10 deca, 10 oxygens. Okay. Tetra is 4 seleniums, so I have 4 seleniums. Hexa is 6. Brom is bromines. I have 6 of those. Okay. Carbon, there's no prefix, so I have only 1. Mono means I have 1 oxygen. Okay, no prefix on nitrogens, there's only 1. Di means 2, I have 2 oxygens. Okay, so that is covalent compound nomenclature. That's all there is to it, is you just name your first element, put the prefix to say how many are there, no mono if there's only 1. Name the root of the second element with the prefix to say how many is there, end in ide every single time. And then when you're going from name back to formula, it already tells you how many of the element is there. So that is covalent compound nomenclature. Again, when you're given your quizzes and your exams, I suggest you identify your type of compound first. If it's a nonmetal with a nonmetal, if it's a nonmetal first in front, you've got a covalent compound. Mark them, do all of those first, get your easy points out of the way. All right, well, that is all I have to say about covalent compound nomenclature. Have a great day.